Yeah, we got a few things to talk about. DC just came out with some big news. Zack Snyder said some really dumb shit, and we'll be talking about that. But yeah, that's what we'll be talking about today on this episode of the FruityCast, which will probably be my first one in like 2 weeks. I did do one that was supposed to be released last week, and I decided to cut it because honestly, I just wasn't really happy with it. It wasn't that great of an episode, so I decided to cut it. Also, before we really even get into this news, I'm just gonna kind of talk about some stuff that I've been watching, been reading recently in terms of like the nerdy stuff that I kind of cover. I've been watching The Boys. Um, I'm rewatching season one. I watched all of season one a few months ago, but I want to like do a whole run through of the show, so I'm starting from the beginning and trying to get caught up. The show, I believe, just had its season finale or is about to for season four. So, I still got time. I don't think they even said when season 5 is coming out, so we'll see. And in terms of stuff that I'm reading, currently I am reading Vinland Saga. I got, it's a fucking tome. It's like one of those giant deluxe ones. Have you seen those around? It is huge. It is, I think, it's not omnibus size, but it's close enough. And if you ever try to read an omnibus, especially when you're trying to like lay down in bed, it is extremely uncomfortable. It's not an easy thing to do at all. It's like you need a stand to put the book on and flip and like have a clip on each side to make sure it's held together, because it is insanely hard just to read on your own, because it just like if you put it on your like lap, if you put it on your leg, it's just uncomfortable. It's just gonna dig in because of the weight in it. If you put it on your stomach, it's gonna be worse. Like I need to find a stand or something that I can kind of put it on. I don't know, something to easily hold it while I read it. But yeah, that's about it. Right now, I'm working on a Thanos piece in terms of art. If you can't, I also got this really bad farmer stand going on. Yeah, but in personal life, yeah, here's the piece. I don't think it's great. We'll see. I'm trying like a new style of inking that's more like comic book based, because usually I go with like light inking, but we'll see. But yeah, that's really about it. In terms of gaming, not a lot of stuff going on. I'm probably gonna start that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles side scroller game that came out recently. The what was it, Cowabunga or whatever. I'm probably gonna try that out tonight. No, today is my birthday. The time of this recording, and I'm spending it here. Honestly, I just wanted to get away from work, so that's mostly it. But yeah, I'm probably gonna end stream early though because of that, so I can just kind of relax, play a few video games, watch some TV, just chillax. That's all I really wanted to do for my birthday, was just get away from people and just chill. But yeah, moving forward, let's get into the actual news of it. DC just had a big announcement that they announced earlier today that has been it's not like news because it's been like leaked for some time now. You probably already heard of it if you have been paying attention to any comic book news recently. Absolute DC. But now we have an official announcement from both Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson, and we will be getting into that right now. They said they were gonna go like live with it, but I guess they just like it was a pre-recorded video, only 10 minutes long. So we're just gonna see the official news. I know Scott has also been talking about this on Twitter after this video came out to kind of clarify some things. So I'll probably talk about some of that, at least like the stuff that I saw. But yeah, we'll get right into the video here. Oh.
Hey everybody, my name is Joshua Williamson, and I'm here to talk to you about an exciting initiative coming to DC Comics in October. But I'm doing it with an old friend, Scott Snyder.
Hey man, God, you look so fancy. You're freaking me out.
Yeah, you got the suit on and everything. But yeah, these are two of my like favorite creators right here. Joshua Williamson is great. I love his current Superman run right now. Scott Snyder, it might be one of my favorite writers of all time. Like probably top 5. Love his Batman run. Love Witches. Just absolutely love what this man does.
This is my show, and you're my guest. right? I'm the host, you're my guest, so we're here to talk about comic books. So let's talk to everybody about All In.
This is something we've been working on forever. We've been working on it for a couple of years behind the scenes with some incredible creators, and we're just so excited to bring it to you. So what is All In? Like, All In is the biggest initiative that DC has done in the better part of a decade, honestly. Josh and I have both been really lucky over the years at DC to be a part of a couple initiatives. The difference between sort of
Yeah, it's bigger than Rebirth. It's bigger than DCU. Like, this is the whole thing. Like, it's just another brand new initiative that Marvel does all the time, that DC does all the time. But this one, it seems to be kind of them trying to do DC Earth 1 again. If you don't remember what DC Earth 1 was, it was just kind of like them doing graphic novels or like just one and dones. Like, just you pick it up, it's one book, it's one story. It's not separate issues, just collected all together. It's just a one and done story that you can read that takes place in its own separate Earth over there where you can do anything you want. It's just kind of that, but now they are going to come out monthly, and they're actually going to be like, they're basically the ultimate, they're DC's answer to the Ultimate Universe, is what I have been seeing people like say about this.
an initiative and an event. Also, an event is like a big blockbuster story that creates a couple open spaces. But an initiative is a moment when the entire company comes together to kind of create a moment, like a seismic tectonic moment at the company that sort of redefines it and tells one big story.
Yeah, I like that Superman suit. Let's take a look back at this. Okay. It's very different. Seems to be more like accents on the collar, like the red and yellow. Just kind of like these, I don't know, like, I think Kirby Crackle is the right phrase on the arms. It makes the suit kind of look like more like it's a living being, but we'll see. I've heard some leaks about this. I don't know how true they are. I know with the Superman one, apparently they want to go with more of the alien. They want to make Superman more alien than human. So we'll see.
Company that sort of redefines it and tells one big story that invites everybody in to celebrate comics at once. And that's sort of what All In is going to be. Every initiative has its purpose, and for us, All In is a rallying cry. All In is about reminding everybody.
I like that Batman Iron Man armor. That is kind of like if Iron Man became Batman right here, like big blue glowing logo with, you know, bright eyes. Seems like they're fighting Darkseid.
That this medium, that comics, is where the biggest stories are told. It's where the characters are reborn, renewed, where the biggest legacy storytelling happens over and over and over. It's the greatest continuing story in the world.
Yeah, and one of the things that we've always talked about the last few years is that whenever somebody tries to do an initiative, they always either try to do something brand new with new stuff, or they try to do stuff that always embraces the classic. And one of the conversations that Scott and I were having the last few years was like, how do we do both? How do we do a new story that introduces all of these pieces of like brand new stuff, but really elevates all these classic pieces that we really love?
It starts with story. For us, like every great initiative has a character, has a sensibility, but it's a story. It's about creating something that opens up opportunity for creators to come in, do stories that they want to do in the best way and the biggest way possible. Again, an initiative like this, like All In, is about inviting everybody in, all the existing creators, some new creators, everything, to tell their best stories and to begin them all at one point. The idea is to create the greatest jumping on point for you guys in many, many, many years, where DC will be starting all kinds of books, like brand new books, and your continuing series, the series that you love. There is no reboot, there is no retcon, but they will have new.
Yeah. So this is just a new universe. That's all it seems to be so far. It's no reboot. They're not doing like a new 52. It's not them retconning a bunch, so it's like, oh, it's still in main continuity. No, it's over there. It's just over there, and it has no effect on main continuity.
New story arcs beginning in October. Everything begins there, and it all starts with the All In #1 special.
And that's one of the things, like right now we're in the middle of this awesome Absolute Power event with Mark Waid and Dan Mora, and they're totally killing it. Awesome storytelling there. It actually ends with some really big moments for the DCU. And that's where we start picking things up with All In #1 in October. It's going to be a flip book. Scott and I co-wrote all of it, but it's a flip book where one side is being done by Daniel Sampere, who is awesome, who I did Dark Crisis with. He's killing it on Wonder Woman. And the other side is being done by Wes Craig, who is an awesome, awesome artist. And we're really excited. When you guys see the pages for this, it's going to blow your mind. Now, on the Daniel Sampere side, that side is going to focus on what is going on in the current DCU post Absolute Power. And you're going to get to see a lot of this through the eyes of Superman. You're going to see some teases of the new storylines that are coming up. But it's all with Superman. The other side of the story is all through the point of view of Darkseid.
This special, what it really does is it reintroduces Darkseid as sort of who he should be, right? The greatest villain in the DCU, the end of all things.
Yeah.
And there have been some amazing stories about
Essentially, just like the devil.
But what we kind of came up with, along with a bunch of great creators, Mark Waid and everybody else, kind of working on the lead up to it, is that during the events of Absolute Power, unbeknownst to the superheroes, Darkseid starts to realize that something has always been missing. He senses something in a special moment during Absolute Power that we don't want to spoil, but he senses something has changed. And once he realizes this, it sets him off on a quest that's going to bring him into direct conflict with this new Justice League that Superman is setting up, this more robust Justice League.
So there is going to be a Justice League at the end of Absolute Power, which is kind of what they've been teasing, I feel like. If you don't know what Absolute Power is, it's an event that DC is doing right now, actually, where all the superheroes lose their superpowers. They've been building up to it. And we have not had a Justice League book since, like, I forget when. I think it might have been, like, 2020, I think, was the last time we had a Justice League book. Because, like, we haven't had one since, what was it? Dark Knight's Death Metal. So it's been almost 5 years, maybe just like 4. So yeah. So it seems like they're gonna go with a new Justice League book. I wonder how this is gonna play into the new universe.
And the collision between those two forces will reshape the DC cosmology in a brand new way, in a radical way, in a way that we're really excited about. And in the midst of that, it will create, one thing it creates is a dangerous, wild new planet, a new DC universe, where we've invited in some of the biggest names in comics and some rising stars to reinvent the characters in personal and passionate and daring ways, all in one shared space, and as part of a bigger story that we'll be telling over the course of the next few years. That's the thing to understand. A great initiative. It launches a story, begins with a story, and that story creates a driving force for the company for years to come. And that's what we're trying to do here. This story about the kind of collision between Darkseid, the Justice League, and what that engenders is going to be something that's going to shape the DC universe for quite a while.
And that's one of the things that's really important about this initiative is that even though we have these two worlds, we're telling one big meta story. And part of that new world is...
I like how he has a Superman pin on his jacket. You can't see it that well, but he has it like right on like his right side.
The Absolute World. And so Scott, let's talk about the Absolute World a bit, and let's talk about your book, Absolute Batman.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, okay, so this image actually got leaked like a week or so ago. And first of all, I love the suit. I understand why some people don't like it. I love it. I think this looks fucking awesome. I don't know. It just looks so fucking cool. But yeah, Scott Snyder's back on Batman, which I love. I didn't like some of his later stuff with DC, like Dark Knight's Metal, like both of them. But I didn't like hate them. I just thought they were alright. I thought his Justice League was pretty good for the most part. I love his Batman, like I said before. I do like that this is not just, this is like a different... I do like that this is a different take on Batman. So it doesn't feel like it's just him doing the same thing over again. Hopefully this gives him a lot more freedom to just do whatever he wants without being bogged down by continuity.
Yeah, so
just to do his own thing.
It's been a lot of fun architecting.
But yeah, I freaking love the suit. I don't know why. I love the suit so much, but I just do. Like, first off, he is huge. Second of all, he has like spikes on his shoulders and his fucking... Like, it just looks so cool. I understand why people aren't the biggest fan of it. It is a bit much. It's a bit much. But I don't know why, but I just really like it.
So it's been a lot of fun architecting.
I've heard some people call this the absolute unit Batman, which could not be more true. He is just jacked.
All this stuff with you and everybody else, but one part of it is this is the absolute universe. So The absolute universe, what is it? Without giving too much away, because you've got to pick up the special to see how it's created. If the main universe is sort of predicated on Superman energy, right, and the sort of metaverse concept that was introduced before in Doomsday Clock and elsewhere, then this universe is kind of founded on Darkseid energy. Now, Darkseid energy, the Omega beams, they zigzag, they're chaotic, they're dangerous, they're wild, and that's the spirit of this universe. In this universe, the heroes come up in ways that make them underdogs. They have a lot less of the comforts and things that they have in the main universe. Without spoiling things in each of the books, they have to be tougher, they have to be more resourceful, they've got to shine brighter.
Okay, so it's basically a darker universe. Like, it's them to just get a chance to write like darker stories, I feel like. At least that's what it kind of sounds like from him. Second of all, I do love this Wonder Woman look. She has like tattoos on her arms. She has this giant ass sword. Like, she very much looks like a warrior. I also do like the fact that she's wearing kind of silver. I do prefer the gold trimming more, like the traditional look. I would be like, I definitely want to read all these books. I also like Superman's look here.
Them more badass.
So like this part right here that I said was kind of like Kirby Crackle-ish. It does seem like the suit is more alive because it looks like he's kind of powering up his energy.
It's 2 universes, 1 prophecy. So we've invited in a lot of people that want to embrace that spirit, and they're gonna.
He's also got a collar. It doesn't even look like he has a cape. I think this is a capeless Superman, or actually no. I think there's kind of like a particle cape. If you like see right here, this little part where I'm circling, it kind of looks like it fizzles out. I'm not sure.
That want to embrace that spirit, and they're going to blow you away with the takes that they've created for these characters, from Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and on and on.
Yeah, okay, he does have a cape, and I do think I was right because you can kind of see it fizzle out. We also have Wonder Woman riding whatever this is. I don't know. They did say this was going to be more of a dark side Earth, so who knows, maybe that's a apocalyptic creature or whatever. But yeah, I do, so far I like the looks of all 3 of these. They all kind of look a bit much, but still I enjoy it. That's perfectly fine. I do like how different they are, especially like if you're going with this whole thing of like it's an alternate universe, you know, we're just gonna be able to play with whatever we want, make it as different, make it as out there as possible.
Can't wait for you to see what we came up with.
When you guys see Nitrigata's art on Absolute Batman, it is going to blow your mind. It is primal. This is not the Batman you know. He is a beast, and it's really, really exciting. and one of the things that we've been talking about...
He looks like fucking Bane.
Superman a lot. And Superman is going to be a really important part of the stories moving forward, past all in. And I am still going to be writing Superman. I'll be writing the main Superman title. And now I'll be joined by Dan Mora.
There is no way that Batman could possibly live like a double life and be like, oh, I'm Batman, but I can pretend to be Bruce Wayne. Like, no, you can't. You look the exact like, he looks like a monster. He looks so huge. Also, I just kind of skimmed over. Joshua Williamson saying that Superman is now going to be drawn by Dan Mora. Beautiful. Dan Mora is amazing. Him being on the Superman title from now on will be so fucking good. Jamal Campbell is an amazing artist too. I am kind of sad to hear that he is no longer going to be on the title, but Dan Mora is a great replacement.
The artist, one of the best artists at DC, will come in and play with me on Superman for a while, and we're going to be doing some really big new stories in Superman. One of the things is we're going to be introducing a new Superwoman. It'll be a big mystery of who the new Superwoman is and how she got...
Oh, I like her costume. She kind of like has the emblem, like the, little pentagon emblem on her shoulders. She has yellow gloves.
Her powers,
I like this look.
But also, we're going to have the return of Doomsday. One of my favorite comics of all time is Death of Superman. And getting to play with Doomsday and doing some really cool big action sequences of Doomsday is very, very exciting. And there's going to be one of the biggest stories I've ever done at DC will be in the Superman title. One of the things, along with doing Superman, is, like Scott said earlier, we're going to be doing a lot of new stories starting in October. There'll be a bunch of...
You know what is kind of weird? So, if you don't know, DC actually does have this thing with their collected editions where they will call them... It's essentially kind of like an omnibus thing, but with like a lot of extra shit in it. You can kind of see it here with Joshua Williamson set up in the background. He has the 3 Absolute Preacher volumes and Absolute Watchmen. it does make me wonder what are they going to call the absolute editions of these absolute titles, because I'm pretty sure they're called like Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman. I feel like they would have to. So what would you call them? Would you call them Absolute Squared Batman?
Jumping on points across the entire line. You know, for me, when I came back to DC with Rebirth and I was working on Flash, I felt like I was a new kid. And one of the best parts of the last few years has been watching all of these new talent and new creators coming into the DCU.
Birds of Prey
And
is
one of the
really
things
good.
that's the best part about doing a new initiative is that what I've learned is that initiatives create opportunities. And it's been really awesome watching a lot of these new creators grab this opportunity and run with it and tell some really, really amazing stories. And so you're going to get a lot of new books, new creative teams, and new stories.
I do understand that, but I feel like it's almost been done to death at this point where, like, I don't know. I'm not, I don't really look at what, like, DC sales are or Marvel sales. I don't really care all that much about it. I don't know. But me personally, as a consumer of comics, I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm just getting tired of initiatives. Like, they always pop up every now and again. Like, almost every other year, there's a new initiative. I like this one because at least it's, like, it doesn't seem to be that big in terms of affecting the main DC universe. Even though they said, like, oh, this is done breathe the new, what's coming next in the DC universe, whatever. But, like, it only really feels like it's just gonna bring in the new Justice League, and most of the focus is gonna be on these new titles. So that's why I'm fine with this, but, like, I feel like initiatives have kind of been done to death at this point. Marvel really hasn't done them that much outside of the X-Men. Outside of the X-Men, they have not really done that many initiatives for their, like, mainline heroes since, like, 2018, I think. But yeah, even then, you still have the X-Men who get a new initiative, like, every year.
Up in October.
The biggest thing we want to kind of communicate to you guys is this is not a retcon or a reboot or something like that. It's a celebration and expansion of the great storytelling that's been happening at DC. What it is it's an invitation to jump in. What we were able to kind of do is create a story that in October will have every book starting a new arc. Some of them are continuing on the sort of storylines.
So it does seem to be affecting every title, but it doesn't seem like they're gonna be going back to number ones. It just seems like they're just using this opportunity to be like, hey, for people who jumped off a few books, maybe just and aren't able to catch back up, you can here, like, there's so many arcs that can just be restarted now. It doesn't make me wonder, like, outside of these 3 alternate universe versions of our characters, if they're gonna start any new titles. I feel like they already got a shit ton already, so we'll see.
They've been on, but it will be a jumping on point. Some of them will be brand new books over in the Absolute Universe. There'll be new books in the main universe. We're gonna have
it does seem like they might get a new writer for Batman. Chip Zdarsky seems to have ended his arc, at least from what I heard. So who knows, we might get a new one.
Stories from October on, everywhere you look at DC Comics will be a story beginning, a place to start. There'll be incentives for retailers that will reveal at San Diego. There'll be incentives for you guys that will reveal.
But yeah, this comes, like, this little announcement comes a week before San Diego Comic-Con. And I think the only reason they did it is because it was already getting leaked like a shit ton. But I think we'll probably get a lot more information from San Diego Comic-Con on this front.
San Diego.
In terms of, who's on the writing teams if they don't announce it by the end of this.
But the goal of this, like I said at the beginning of this, is All In is a rallying cry. It's saying comics are awesome. Comics have been awesome. Comics will always be awesome. It will be the place where you can tell the biggest and best stories with these characters ever. And what we want is to communicate to you that right now we're all in as a company. All the creators, all the editors,
To me, what's really weird about them saying that they're all in and calling their initiatives all in is because, here's the thing, Joshua Williamson is a pro wrestling fan, and I know this because I have listened to a few episodes of his podcast with Sal from Comic Pop called All Stars, where he has talked about his wrestling fandom. I'm not sure if he's a fan of AEW, which is a company that does have a show that's called All In. It does make me wonder, though, if Joshua Williamson either A, knew that, or B, knew that DC and AEW, the wrestling company, both share the same partner company with WB. So it does make me wonder if, like, he asked them if he can use that, or he's just like, haha, I'm making a reference to this company that it also is under the same umbrella as us, but is also a company I like. I'm not sure. I just thought that was really weird. I was like, All In. That's the one you chose?
Everybody has bought into this idea of let's all take our biggest swing together at one moment because we haven't done it in a while. Let's all launch our biggest stories, whether they're radical reinventions of the characters, whether they're continuing awesome legacy stories that are happening.
Yeah, that's all initiatives are. It's just marketing ploys because, like, it does give you a chance to, like, start new stories, but some creators are just going to continue what they already been doing.
The main DCU. Let's do all of it at once, all over the course of this period. We're all in. It's all in the books. It's all in the stores, and we're all in it together as fans and as creators, and as retailers, and everybody in the industry to say comics is awesome, and it always has been and it always will be, but this moment in particular is going to be more awesome than you can even imagine.
And like this right here, everything we're talking about, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Like this is just the beginning of what All In is and everything we're gonna be talking to you about. There's gonna be a lot of announcements this week. A lot of really cool stuff is gonna be teased this week. And then we're gonna get to San Diego Comic-Con, and there will be a lot of really, really great stuff at San Diego Comic-Con. We have a panel on Thursday at 12:45 at San Diego Comic-Con. You gotta make sure you go to that. Like, there's a lot of really cool stuff that's going to be
when is the panel?
And we're going to get to San Diego Comic-Con, and there will be a lot of really, really great stuff at San Diego Comic-Con. We have a panel on Thursday at 12:45 at San Diego Comic-Con. You got to make sure you go to that. Like, there's a lot of really cool stuff that's going to be coming to DC in October, and it all starts with DC All In Special number 1.
Okay. And I believe this comes out in October? Yeah, it's on sale October 24th. It's going to be a 64-page one-shot, which means it'll probably cost like $8, by the way. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for this. I think they said it's going to be next week, Thursday. They're going to, announce a bunch of stuff at their panel. So it's going to be interesting to see what they officially say there. I have a feeling they're going to announce like the, creative teams, like who's writing each book, who's going to be the artist. Probably just, talking about the new storylines that are kind of iconic from that. I thought they were just going to announce a new universe, but apparently it's a whole initiative now. We'll see. Leaks are probably going to be circulating online. I mean, they literally did before this. So, who knows? I'm going to try to steer away from it, but we'll have to see about that. Because I didn't exactly get the choice to see the leaks or not when they first showed up. It was just like an image that everyone started sharing, and I was like, oh, well, this looks kind of cool. Wonder where this goes. But yeah, it's going to be interesting what they say next week. I was planning on recording this bit and then just recording the second half of the podcast on Saturday, just in case any more news came out, not just on this subject, but in just, nerd news, pop culture news in general. But we'll have to see if anything really pops up. I know I said I was going to talk about the Zack Snyder stuff, but I think I'm just not. It's just like this dumb article. I'll just bring it up real quick. From this website called Fiction Horizon. Zack Snyder reveals his opinions on superheroes. Superheroes have sexual anxiety. They're all agoraphobic and incestuous and insane and addicted to violence. It's not the best outlook to have, I feel like. It's just, it rubbed me the wrong way. It kind of makes sense for some of the previous things he said, especially that stuff he said on Joe Rogan's podcast when he talked about why his Batman is allowed to kill, or was it whatever. I don't know. It was just I think it's a dumb thing for him to say, and probably good enough evidence that he shouldn't be running any comic book cinematic universe. If he wants to make his own movies, that's fine. I think the only movie I've seen of his outside of like the DCEU movies was what was it? Army of the Dead, and that was terrible. I hated that movie so much. It was so bad. God, I have not seen any of the Rebel Moons. I was wondering if it was going to be good, because it looked good. I saw the trailer for it, and then everyone was just kind of like, it's alright, and I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to watch that. And then I heard that part 2 came out, and it was god-awful, from what I heard, at least. But yeah. I've heard some of his older movies are good. I've never really been interested in 300. I haven't seen Watchmen, actually. I almost forgot that was the Zack Snyder movie, honestly. Because, yeah, I almost forgot about that. But yeah, I haven't seen 300. I'm not really that interested in it. I think I actually have seen Sucker Punch for some reason. I don't know why, but that movie was awful too. I think he did like a Night of the Living Dead movie. I might have seen that one. I think. I don't know. But yeah, if there's anything else that I'll probably cover on Saturday, maybe. But yeah, that's all I really gotta say for now. Okay, so there have been a few news that has come out lately ever since this video dropped. And basically, we have some confirmation in terms of creative teams getting swapped up during the whole, absolute DC all-in stuff, which we will talk about. Or at least we'll cover the creative teams behind the 3 new titles, Absolute Batman, Absolute Wonder Woman, and Absolute Superman. But we also have some other news in regards to who will be directing the next 2 Avengers movies, because they have been kind of searching for a new director since the former director, I forget what his name was, dropped out. They've been trying to find someone new, and there's been some rumors going around. I think Ryan Coogler was someone that they were looking for. Maybe, I'm not completely sure. And we also have a new Deadpool trailer. Now, just going right to the absolute DC news, since we just kind of talked about it in this video. We do have the creative teams announced. For Absolute Batman, it will be Scott Snyder and Nick Dragato. I think that's how you pronounce it. Dragata, which releases on October 9th. For Absolute Wonder Woman, it is Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman, which comes out October 23rd. And for Absolute Superman, it's by Jason Aaron and Rafa Sandoval, which released November 6th. And essentially the premise for each of these books is kind of what Scott was talking about when he was talking about, taking the characters' pleasantries and doing away with them. So for the introductions of these, new versions of the Trinity, we have, this will be a version of the Dark Knight that doesn't have the money, mansion, or butler of his core line counterpart. For Diana, this is no island paradise, no sisterhood to shape her, nor a mission of peace. So what is the purpose of an Amazon warrior in this new universe? And this Superman has no family, no fortress of solitude, and no home. Will he still stand for truth, justice, and a better tomorrow in this new universe? So I really like the premise behind this of kind of taking away a lot of the usual I would guess you would say tropes. They're still there, essentially. I think this is still gonna be a Batman. Well, this still feels like a Batman who's gonna lose his parents and becomes Batman because of it. This still feels like a Wonder Woman that's from Themyscira, a Superman that was from Krypton and then came to Earth. We just don't really know yet, but it seems like they're just okay, there are these characters, but what if we took, usually when, Batman, in Batman stories, he goes to Alfred, he goes to the Batcave, he goes to the mansion. What if he didn't have that? With Wonder Woman, you would see her go back to Themyscira. You would see her, she has this whole mission of bringing peace. What if she didn't have that? It's kind of their own versions of these characters, and seeing if they would live up to the originals in some respect. We still have, I don't know. I don't feel like it's that properly explained. It's a little head scratchy, okay, what is this? Okay, you're taking away these elements, and what would these characters become without these elements? And I am curious to see where that goes. But it also feels like they're just doing their own thing, so it's not like a what if. It's just well, here's these versions of our characters, and we're also just kind of, doing whatever. That's what it seems like, but they're trying to make a mission statement out of it, I guess. But overall, I like the the announced teams for this. I'm always a big Scott Snyder fan. I really like Nick's art here. Kelly Thompson is a great writer. I really just like this image of her writing this like apocalyptic demon thing. Like, I don't know what this is, but it looks cool. And also this like Superman who kind of looks like scary, but also like looks a bit hopeful at the same time. I don't know. That's the kind of vibes I'm getting from it, but I like it. Now before we really go into any more news, I do want to talk about a few comics that I actually got recently. So I'm not sure if I mentioned it in the first part of this video because this is recorded a few days afterwards. But when I recorded the first half, when we reacted to the DC All In stuff, it was my birthday, and today's Saturday, so I got the chance to really spend time with my family without work and stuff getting in the way for them. And we went to, well, they didn't, I did, but we went to this restaurant in this place, and then I ended up going to a comic book store, which where I picked up a few comics because I do not have comics. I do not have a comic store near me at all. Like I had to, like the place was like 30 miles away. Oh, not 30 miles, 30 minutes away. It's not something that I can easily just go out of my way to get most of the time. So, but I was there, spending time with family. I decided that afterwards I was gonna treat myself and picked up a few comics. So I got some pretty good ones, I would say. We have Illuminati by Brian Michael Bendis with a bunch of artists, Brian Reed, Alec Maleev, and Jim Chung. It basically is just like Brian Michael Bendis' big retcon for the Marvel Universe of how the Illuminati, kind of basically been, acting behind the scenes throughout Marvel history. Then we also have Infinity Gauntlet, which is a classic Marvel story that I just was able to get my hands on. I think it was one of those where anytime I'd visit the comic shop, I would always be like, you know what, I'll get that next time. Well, now I got it now. We also have this comic that just recently, in like the last few months, I believe, got turned into an animated movie, Batman: The Doom That Came to Gotham. It's a very like Lovecraftian Batman story, which I have heard of before, but I never really sat down and read, so now I finally get the chance to. And then we have a absolute classic, one of the most well-known comics of all time, Preacher, well, at least the first book, the first volume, a Preacher from Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon. Garth Ennis, the creator of The Boys, which fourth season just wrapped up. I am currently binging through The Boys. I did get spoiled on the ending, but I'm pretty excited to see where the show goes. And then we got the first volume of the new Flash run called Strange Attractions. This is by Simon Spurrier with Mike Deodato Jr. on art. I've heard only really good things about it. I don't know what it is about, but I like the Flash. I like Wally. I can't wait to see where this goes. But yeah, in terms of comics that I've gotten, that's about it. The only other thing that I got was Vinland Saga, the second deluxe edition, but I got that separately. I got that off like Amazon, and it's not here yet, so I'll just have to wait. And that's about it. I kind of wish I got more. I honestly, I probably would have like picked up a few single issues of the new Ultimate Spider-Man run, but honestly, I'm just kind of waiting for the trade. But that's about it. Now, going back to the news, we have the Russo brothers, like I said beforehand. They are in talks to direct the new, they are in talks to direct the next two Avengers movies. This came literally on my birthday, and they, it's still in talks. That's really what it is. It's just that they're in talks. Who knows? I feel like there's a likely chance. We'll see. But at the same time, they might just want to step away for a while. I saw some people react to this news being like, oh, God, come on. As if these two haven't directed like some of the best MCU movies. Like Winter Soldier, Civil War was pretty good, Infinity War was amazing. Endgame, I know some people don't like love it, but at the same time, I feel like it's still a good movie. I think people just don't like it as much in retrospect. But like, Infinity War was still great. Winter Soldier was still great. We'll have to see again. The MCU hasn't been that great. I feel like there's been a lot more misses than hits lately. So we'll have to see where this goes. Depends on how much. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like from what we saw with Infinity War and Endgame, the Russo brothers can typically be very restrained when it comes to, fan service, but while also, focusing on the story. But we'll just have to see where this goes. And now, before we get to our next thing, I am going to, basically say that if you do not want spoilers for the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, if you've been able to kind of keep away from big spoilers about this movie, I would, kind of just jump off the video now, because there's a pretty big spoiler in this new trailer, which I am not a big fan of the fact that they spoiled. That I will be talking about. I already have watched the trailer, but yeah, it's basically kind of reveal. I feel like this reveals more of the story, the real story elements than the other trailers have. Like, we know that Deadpool is working for the, TVA, but this one gives a little bit more of a kind of what is more than likely going to take place in the middle of the movie, as well as Wolverine's character arc, despite the fact that he gives a big moment that should have been saved for later. And again, if you don't want spoilers, I would jump off now, but it is revealed that Daphne Keane, who played Laura Kinney in Logan, is back. And essentially, what it seems like is going to happen is that she's going to play a big role in Logan's character arc, probably going to be the one to turn him into a hero, because as it says in the trailer, as it is revealed in the trailer, this is not the Fox Wolverine. This is another one who was a complete failure, probably more in line with like the actual Old Man Logan story, but who knows. Some other stuff, but like some other stuff that got like spoiled that was, going to be a surprise, obviously, was, let me find it.
Are you ready? Fuck yeah, I'm ready.
Deadpool. Yep, hold on.
You ready?
So we got Lady Deadpool, who some people are speculating is going to be Blake Lively. Some people are speculating that it's just going to be Ryan Reynolds in a wig, which I'm kind of hoping for, I'll be honest. I think it would be really funny. They just did that.
Fuck
And we
yeah, I'm
also
ready.
have Dogpool, which is so cute. But yeah, this is Dogpool. We already knew of. Lady Deadpool, everyone kind of knew of when it came. But obviously, the big one that people were focusing on was Daphne Keane as, Laura Kinney coming back from the Logan universe, from the X-Men. Well, because like it's not like the Fox X-Men universe, kind of, even though Logan, I believe, takes part in a separate universe from that. The Fox X-Men universe is really weird. But yeah, she's back. I don't like the fact that they spoiled it. I feel like that should have been one where you saved it for the movie itself, because obviously it's going to play a big part in Logan's character development, I feel like, or at least I would hope so. And I don't like the fact that they just spoil it in the trailer. Like, that would be such a big holy shit moment in the theaters, and just reviewing it in the trailer just kind of sucks, honestly. There's also the fact that I don't know. I mean, again, I feel like there's many other surprises they could have spoiled other than that one, like Elektra possibly being back if that ends up being true. Like, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of the fact that they spoiled that. I hope that they put her in a costume. I think that would be fun. Like maybe this Wolverine dies by the end of the movie. He like sacrificed himself, and Laura Kinney takes his uniform, because Laura Kinney in the comics, when she becomes Wolverine, actually does kind of wear a similar costume to the one that Wolverine has on, despite the fact except for the sleeves. The sleeves which had to stay on. So who knows, maybe she's a really good seamstress. But yeah, she would have to probably sew them back on to make it more like the comic accurate costume. But other than that, I thought it was a pretty good trailer. I think it did a good job at basically laying out where Deadpool and Wolverine are going to be character-wise in this movie. Like, Deadpool is looking to regain his universe, whatever that means. Also, I thought this was from a while ago, where they basically revealed that there was a ship with like Giant Man's helmet that was like based on Giant Man's helmet. I thought that the ship just incorporated the helmet. Apparently, the ship is Giant Man. Like, you can literally see his arms and legs. That's so fucking weird. But yeah. I also saw some people complain about this line.
You're well regarded. You were an X-Man.
You were an X-Man.
Fuck that, you were the X-Man.
You were the X-Man. And I saw people, X-Men fans being a little upset about that, obviously, because X-Men, like the X-Men franchise, is not just Wolverine, it's also, a bunch of characters who are really cool. But if we want to talk about who's the most famous X-Man, it's Wolverine. He is the X-Man. When people think of X-Men, they think of him. That doesn't mean that any of the other characters are, beneath him or anything like that. There are a bunch of cool X-Men out there, but when people think of X-Men, they think of Wolverine. But yeah, that's all I really have planned to talk about. I think it's just really cool. Like, this whole DC All-In stuff seems really cool. It seems like a good jumping off point for a lot of, people who want to get into comics. I'm not the biggest fan of just another comics initiative because we have so many nowadays, especially from DC. But as someone who has not been able to really jump into single issues as much because of, just creative teams just being on books forever with long-lasting stories, sometimes it's just hard to really jump in at times, or it just doesn't feel welcoming to jump in. Stuff like this can also just create new opportunities for people to jump on books. I think it would be great. We also, the Russo brothers coming back will be pretty cool. And Deadpool and Wolverine still looks great. I'm still definitely going to try to watch it when it comes out. It depends. I want to go see it with my brother, but he's busy opening weekend, so we're going to try the weekend afterwards. I am, not the biggest fan of the fact that they spoiled the fact that Laura Kinney is in it, but, still looks great. Still want to watch it. But yeah, that'll be it. I'll see y'all next time.